Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Hey, if you're new to my channel, welcome to Set the Hook. I'm TL Broyles. All right, guys, this is a straightforward video that's the download on what is going to be used to catch fish, lures that work, that look like what's in the water. The reason I decided to drop this video, guys, is if you are fishing with lures and you're going to some specific place, you want to catch a fish, man. And now there are other lures that just stone cold work, regardless 90% of the time. But we're talking about what looks like what's in the water to catch fish. And the way you do that, guys, before I go any further, this is for the people who are new to fishing. All you hardcore bass guys, I already know you know what's up. I already know you know what's going on. All right. All right, guys. If you go to we're going to say a pond, and you talk to the owner, and that's what you need to do. If there's the owner there that you can talk to, holler at them and say, hey, what do you have in here? What all's living in here that you stock the pond with? Because the reality of it is, the fish that live in that pond are going to be eating what's in there, the smaller versions of what's in there that are smaller than them. And if we're using lures, it's probably going to be a bass pond. So, ask them what's in there. And they may say, hey, there's bluegill in there. I've got shiners in there. I've got shad in there. That's telling you what lures to try to use first. Okay. Now, if the main food source, if you go to a river and you've been, I don't know, catfishing or whatever you're doing, and you were throwing some red worms or some night crawlers and you caught some bluegill, guess what? Bluegill is going to be a food source in that river, in that small river. Now, if you're in a little old bitty creek and you catch a bluegill, I'm talking about a real small creek, it's probably a brook. Yeah, you're not really going to catch too many really big fish anyway. But if you're in a decent sized creek, what we call a small river, and you catch a bluegill, guess what? The bigger fish are eating those bluegill. Now, catfish, they're going to be eating the bluegill, as well as bass, walleye, whatever predator is in there, okay? Now, yeah, we generally don't catch catfish on lures, but we're gonna talk about that. So we're gonna focus on catching bass, sight predators, prickle, pikes and stuff like that. They're gonna eat stuff that's in the water. So if you go to a small river and you've caught a bluegill on a night crawler, or you caught creek chubs on a night crawler, or whatever, maybe those golden eye, you want to use a lure that represents that resembles that as well. Excuse me, guys. All right, if bluegill are going to be a food source, no, you can try a Rapala, man. This particular Rapala right here is a really good representation of a bluegill. It is a bluegill Rapala. It's got the lines and the straight up color scheme like a bluegill, with the stripes, with the really big eyes for the fish to target on, for the predator fish to target on, to strike the lure. Now, see, it's got that. Now this lure right here is actually damaged, but it doesn't matter. We're talking about it. We're not fishing with it today. We're dropping the knowledge. We're talking about what's going on. And you see, it's got the cream tummy, and it's got the bluegill gills right here, guys. And it's got that orange right there. Just like a small red-bellied sunfish bluegill. And it looks a lot like a actual bluegill. Okay, if there are sunfish in a creek or small river, rather, or in a large river, these lures probably will work. Now, we're not talking about, oh, these are definitely going to catch 300,000 fish. We're talking about they can excessively work because that's what's in the water. There are bluegill in the water, guys. You know what I'm saying? Again, if there are bluegill in the water, even this Rapala here, this balsa wood Rapala, okay, the color scheme, the shiny green with the black back, right? And it's got a shad dot. If it's going to be a Rapala, most of these crankbaits are going to have a shad dot on it. That's part of it. And it's got the gold tummy. You know, it looks like a bluegill, like a red-breasted bluegill sunfish. It really does look like that. It's got the shine. They do shine some. They don't shine as much as a shad, but they're going to shine. And it's got the shad dot, and that's just part of it. As I said before, these lures are going to have, these crankbaits are going to have those shad dots on them most of the time, you know. But it looks like a bluegill. And these lures will catch a nice predator fish, you know, in a small river. I've got videos, if you go into my library, where I've caught fish, bass, spotted bass, largemouth bass, where I've caught walleye, you know, on these particular lures, because there are bluegill that live there in the river, guys. Okay, this is another balsa wood. I think this is called a blue parrot, something to that effect. It's got that blue body. It's like a sunfish. It's got that real red and orange gill right here, and it's got that real yellow tummy, and it's got the yellow dots on it. That's going to be like a sunfish. It doesn't necessarily have to be a particular bluegill or a particular sunfish, but it can look like, to me, to resemble a pumpkin seed or a long-eared sunfish. A long-eared sunfish, they're really colorful as well, and those fish will see that and say, hey, that's a big pumpkin seed or a big long-eared sunfish, and they'll knock fire from it. I've caught fish with this particular lure, you know, as well. You can get these. This is actually a bluegill color scheme for this particular lure, guys. And there it is. Now it's got that black bluegill gill right there. Now it looks like one of those dots for a shad, but that's not really what that is. That's a bluegill dot right there, and it's got the really big holographic eyes for the fish to target on. I mean, it's a really cool looking lure. It's that bluegill color scheme, and if there are bluegill that live in that water where you're fishing, spillway, and in spillways, it's gonna have bluegill in it 9 times out of 10. In that lake, in that pond, or in that small river, you know, this lure can be extremely effective because bluegill are gonna be a part of those fish, a part of those fishes feeding prey. That's exactly what it's gonna be. You know, that's what's up. If you're fishing in a pond and you happen to look down, or you're in a creek or a river, you happen to look down, see a crawfish. Why is some crawfish in there? Those fish in that river, in that pond, in that lake, whatever, they're eating those crawfish. And you can watch the bass guys with the depth finders and all that cool stuff on their shows, and they'll say, hey, that bass has got lipstick. That's because they're eating crawfish, and it cuts their mouth. They claw their mouth up. And this crawbug by Yum looks just like a real crawfish. This is the Alabama craw color scheme, guys. But generally, our crawfish here, and I am from Alabama, they generally have that green, black, brown looking back, and if they got the orange tummy, they got that orange looking tummy. Some of them are more brown and more of a lighter brown on the tummy and darker brown like this on the top. But this pretty much is it. And I've caught a lot of fish with this particular lure in the rivers and in the spillways, and I've used it in a pond. And it actually was the black blue flake one, and caught some little bass out of there with this particular lure. See, it looks like a crawfish, and these fish that are living in these places that see this lure, they will hit it, especially if you fish it in season. But we're not discussing the season right now. We're just discussing using lures that work because they look like what's in the water that the fish are eating. Now, if they have shad in the pond, or shad in the lake, and if you're fishing in a spillway, at least I'm gonna say down closer to the southern states like Alabama and Florida and all that, you know, they got a lot. It's a lot of shad around here in Mississippi, Tennessee, a lot of shad. You can use a lure, a crankbait that looks like a shad. You know, so like you could take this, you can take this cotton cordell, CC shad pearl. Okay, guys, you can take this cotton cordell CC shad pearl, and I've used it in different rivers, and I've caught a lot of fish off of this particular lure, and it works really good. You know, it looks like a shad. It looks like an American shad. It's got that yellow line right here on this back, on the side, rather, not its back, on the side, and it's got the shad dot, right, which is in the wrong place because shad dots don't come right here. All right, it's got the big holographic eyes, guys, and it's got the red gill area right here, and I think that's gonna be more like for damage, like I always say. But the point is, it looks like an American shad, and in our area we have American shad. We got the threadfin shad, we've got the gizzard shad, and the American shad. We got all three of those species, and this lure works in our larger rivers like the Tennessee Tom Bigby. I've caught them in several spots in the Tennessee Tom Bigby. I've even caught a nice spotted bass, excuse me, guys, in the wintertime on this lure. You know, it looks like a shad, and you want something that looks like a shad. Okay, this is an Archie-Cropper crankbait, and I've got a video on this particular lure. You can just go down my news feed and go through my library, and you'll see this lure. It works really good. It looks like a small minnow or a small shad, and I caught a lot of fish off of this lure over the years. You know, it's got the black back, and it's completely shiny, guys. Look at that. It's got the big holographic eyes again. And it's not a real deep diver. You may have to put a weight in front of it. But where there are shad or a concentration of shad, if there's a bait ball there, you can use this lure and they will hit it. It works really good. It looks like a shad. And that's what you want to do. You're trying to mimic what's in that water that they are eating. That's all we're talking about. You know. Okay, this Rapala, this is a JSR 5, if I'm correct. It's a broke back lure, but it looks just like an American shad. Now, the dots, you know, they got the dot right here, like most of them do. It's got the big holographic eyes. Look at that back. It's got that black back. Nice lure. It looks like an American shad. It's got that gold or yellow line, and they really, you know, they have that, just like on the other one with the cream body. Really good lure. It's a deep diver, but the point is, it looks like a shad. So if I'm going to like a spillway or something, and I know it's going to be, you know, loaded with shad, I'm going to throw something that looks like a shad in there. This is going to be one of the lures that I'm possibly going to use because it looks just like a shad, and they work. I've caught some nice fish off that particular lure. You know, you want to throw what's in the water. Now, this spoiler shad, this is a spoiler shad black back by Cream. It looks like a threadfin shad. Now, it's a swim bait, but it looks like a threadfin shad, guys. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to look like a shad. Because, see, it's shiny right here. That's just like a threadfin shad. Okay? The basic color scheme is black. It's got the black back on it, you know. Uh, and it's got that thread fin green looking shiny red orange whatever with the big holographic eyes, you know, and it's popping, and you can see it's shining, and it's got that translucent body and all the way up on the stomach, but it's got that black right here. It looks like a thread fin shad. It's a really good representation as a swim bait. And this lure works year round for me in a lot of places. You know, we're trying to look like what's in the water, right? We had the crawbug because it's crawfish wherever, and we had the shiny bluegill parrot, you know, and we had the bluegill rapala. They look like what's in the water. That's what you want. Now this is actually called a perch. This is a Berkeley Power Bait Perch 3-inch, and it looks like a thread fin shad, but it's called a perch. It's got the 2 black lines, and it's got that black back, and it's got that red tummy like a perch. Now the shad don't have that, but it's got that shad color scheme right there on the side. Looks like a thread fin shad, guys. I mean, really, it's a thread fin shad. And I've caught a lot of fish on these lures. I've caught some big fish in the wintertime on these lures in spillways, you know, because they look like shad. They were shad in the water, so I use these lures. There it is. It looks like a shad. You know, that's what's up. That's what you're trying to create. You're trying to create the illusion that this is a living fish that I am throwing out here, or a living crawfish that I'm throwing out here, and this is what you eat. There it is. You know, and guys, you guys that are new to fishing, when I say guys, I mean ladies too, you know, you can catch some really nice fish by trying this technique out. Put that in your fishing. You know, you can go out and buy whatever you want to buy. You can buy the brush hog, whatever you know, whatever you want to do, but put some of these lures that look like what's in that water that the fish are eating in your tackle box. And I promise you, you're going to get some results. And as you learn more about fishing, guys, you'll see what I'm talking about. You're going to have certain lures that are going to be your go-to lures, and that's fine. But even me right now, like these lures right here that I'm showing you guys, they're not my go-to lures. That's just lures I know. Lures that I know look like certain fish or certain prey items that these fish are eating, and they work. So, all right, guys, watch this video all the way to the end until you get to my end screen for more fishing fun and tips. Until then, keep on going fishing. Have fun. Be safe. Peace out. See you at the next video.